Hello, welcome and namaste everybody. We welcome you all in our weekly follow family gathering, family reunion of eSIP follow-up of SIP Module 1, Master Human Value. We welcome our resource person and coach, Dr. Sunil Bhaiya with us. Please, Sunil Bhaiya, namaste. Welcome.
जी नमस्ते परीक्षित भैया नमस्ते
Namaste,
all
Bhaiya.
namaste all those who have joined in the YouTube channel as well as the Zoom platform. So this eSIP follow-up meeting we conduct every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The content of UHV 1 in the students induction program is being placed over here to have clarity regarding the content. And this is high time that every colleges are having this admission getting completed. And SIP has been started in many colleges. We have in our university also SIP is going on. And I have been sharing the content of Universal Human Values 1 for the students. So to have clarity regarding the content is very important. To ask questions regarding the content is giving us more clarity regarding the content. So we have got several cycles of this UHV1 in this platform in the Wednesday follow-up meetings. We have started this from November 2020 after the conduct of eSIP by the AICTE in the online mode during the pandemic period. So now in one of the cycles, we have reached this lecture 8, and the previous few Wednesdays, we have been discussing the lecture 8, the session 8, in which we discuss the feeling, trust, the foundation feeling of relationship. So we have progressed to some level. Let me share my screen for you. So this is what we have started discussion on the last Wednesday. So we have started discussion regarding relationship by putting that relationship is there between every self for the other self. The feelings are there in relationship. We can recognize, or rather, we can see the feelings with some definiteness. And the evaluation and fulfillment of these feelings lead to mutual happiness. So when I communicate with the other, when I share the content with the other, I share my feelings also. Rather, the feelings are shared through my expressions outside. And the other, when the other is able to make out that the feelings which are expressed outside are naturally acceptable to him or her, then we can say the happiness is also shared, and the result is mutual happiness. So we're trying to explore this in detail. We started with trust, the foundation feeling. Trust is to be assured, to have the clarity that the other wants to make me happy and prosperous. We have trust on intention of our own intention, first of all. And when we evaluate ourselves, we evaluate ourselves on the basis of our intention or natural acceptance. But when we evaluate the other, we evaluate the other on the basis of their competence, thinking that that is their intention. And there comes in the doubt on intention. So when we have this doubt on intention, the other feelings do not follow, and we have this opposition struggle, getting irritated, getting angry with the other human beings. Now, when we see through our exploration that when my intention is right, when my intention is pure, the intention of the other human being is also pure. So seeing that the intention of every human being is same is what we refer to as trust. And I can see that every human being is having the same natural acceptance, the same intention. then I say I have this trust on intention, and that is the foundation of relationship. Now, in due course of exploration, we have come to this question. It is asked like this: if you have unconditional continuous trust on intention, that is natural acceptance of the other, and if the other is lacking in competence, what will you do? Do we try to improve his competence and also improve my competence? Get irritated, get angry, or have a feeling of opposition? You can put your reflection in the chat box, or you can unmute. Mic is provided to many of you. So this has been the discussion towards saying, yeah, Praveen Kumarji, namaste.
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 Okay, I don't know that this one. When I log in, then this is the first thing I get, that whether I would like to unmute or not.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask this question also. I wanted to participate. So this is a Hindi session or English session, sir?
English session.
English. Okay, sir. You see, sir, I had completed my UHV 1, UHV 2, and now I am a regular member in this morning session also. I am very almost regular.
Good.
But you see, sir, I still can't understand why these points, how to improve my competency. You see, I still I am getting irritated or angry. I am trying my best also. And when I get irritated or angry, I immediately understand also that after this and at this age, this should not happen. So I fail to understand what should I do. I even do the meditation also. But when I see that a person who keeps on repeating some mistakes is not so much disciplined, like say when I deal with the students, even my family members. So I don't know how to cope with this thing. I understand that I actually I understand the psychology of my family member, the students also. I know at this age of the students, they certainly deal in some such type of activities, which is normal thing. Even family also, members also, that if you talk about my parents or my wife, but still I get sometimes irritated. Is this something related to my body physiochemical reactions or my defective genetic code? I can't understand. Once I know that I had a very critical time, and my first issue, the death that took place of my first son in 1995. So at that time I underwent the psychiatric treatment. So that at that time when I was taking those tranquilizers, so after 6 months or 1 year, then I noticed that I had gained weight, and I was very happy also by mood. But once when I left those medicines, although for many years I was good, but at this age, So can I get some tips also, sir? Although I am listening, and I very it gives me much relief when I listen to Sunil Kumarji or your good self, or Sharmila Didi ji, and all those people who share their views. But how to cope this thing? What should I do?
Yeah, let us explore together. So what we place here is, first of all, I can see that my intention is very pure, and I try to see that the other person's intention is also pure, because I want to make myself happy and I want to make the other happy. This is what I can see for myself. But the
yes, sir.
Competence part is different. Whether I'm able to do it is a different issue. Everyone is having this lack of competence. Now, when I see the, when I evaluate the other human being, usually the evaluation goes on with their competence. I think that their competence part is their intention. So when I evaluate the other on the basis of their competence, thinking that that is their intention, then this doubt is coming into. When I have this doubt on intention, and when the feeling of trust is not ensured within myself, then I have this feeling of irritation, I have this feeling of angry, and having a feeling of opposition. As you pointed out, I also can relate to what you are telling. I am a teacher for the previous 28 years.
Yes, sir.
And when I interact with my students, this irritation used to come in. When there is a disturbance in the class, when
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
somebody is not listening properly, somebody is talking in the class. So irritation used to come in, and sometimes I scold the students in the class, maybe with a very loud voice, and try to set things right. But things are setting right for me, and maybe for the other part of the class, but not for that student, or for those small group of students who are making this.
Yes, yes, sir.
Where what I'm doing is actually I'm doubting the intention of the students, and I'm trying to settle things down with my voice, I would say, or with my scolding of the students. Now, if I look things in another aspect, suppose if I have to focus upon that student or those group of students, then I can see that the same group of students may be reacting in other situations, and they become like a nuisance maker, or nuisance makers rather, to the class.
Yes, sir.
Now to settle things down, maybe I have to go for very many stringent kind of actions, like maybe pushing them out of the class, all those things. Then bringing their parents into the picture, telling them that they are nuisance makers in the class and they are not going to improve at all those kind of things. So this is actually aggravating the issue. It is not solving the issue. Maybe solving my issue temporarily, that I can have this discipline in the classroom. I can conduct the class. But what about those students or that student who is making that issue? I never attend that. Now this UHV has given me certain proposals to see things in the other way. That if somebody is making a nuisance, somebody is making a loud noise, or maybe some disturbance in the class or otherwise, they are disturbed. The disturbance is not because of the other person, because of the teacher, or because of somebody else. It is because of themselves. So with a feeling of trust on intention, even when they're making this noise in the classroom, that is what they're doing is for their own happiness. Maybe they
Yes,
want,
sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
they want to have this attention. They
Yes,
wanted to
sir.
be happy. So because they cannot focus upon the content for some reason or the other, they're making this kind of activities, or doing this kind of activities. So finally, they want to be happy, and that is what they are doing this. So my role is to understand this, that the intention of even those students is right. They are right. So whatever I am telling, whatever I am telling is right for me, whatever they are doing and they are telling is right for them, for sure. So I have to understand this. That's an eye-opening for me. That is actually coming from this trust on intention. Now, seeing that everyone is having the same natural acceptance and same intention, now I can go for an evaluation of mutual competence. Now, when I interact with those students, maybe separately in my room, I can see that there are certain things maybe troubling them from focusing to the content. So I can work upon that. So unconditionally, if I can help them, if I can have the trust on intention about them and try to help them to improve their competence, then this may work. So if I am going to be irritated, maybe as you said, with my students or with my family members or with my colleagues for their action, then my feeling is getting disturbed, in fact. So I have to work upon myself. If I am getting irritated, the source is, in fact, the trigger may be outside, but the motivation is there within me. I'm not ensured within the feeling of trust. So with a trigger from outside, this my sanskar is coming out, and I'm getting irritated, I'm getting angry, I'm having a feeling of opposition. Anything of these three can come, or they can come together also. So what I'm trying to do is trying to ensure this feeling of trust within myself. I'm trying to see that if my intention is to make myself and the others happy, the other is also wanting to make himself herself happy and to make me happy. But at the level of competence, I can see that I am also not able to make myself happy always. So also is the other. So this lack of competence is there with me. So I have to correct myself. I have to improve myself. I have to ensure this feelings, naturally acceptable feelings within myself. And in making effort for that, I can also make effort for helping the other. So this is what I can explore for myself, and I can help others also to work upon. There is a drastic change I can see for myself from the past before I come to the realm of UHV and now. But now this
Yes.
things have settled down, but I don't say it is settled down fully. Even now, sometimes this going into a feeling of opposition. So whenever I'm going into a feeling of opposition or disharmony, I evaluate myself within. Why? What is the reason for this? Is it the situation outside, or is it me who is responsible for this? I can see that it is me, and I can then I try to ensure within, not forcefully but naturally, the feelings which are naturally acceptable. Yeah, that is what is. It will take time. For me also, I can see that it takes a lot of time. Still, I have to go.
Sir.
Yeah. So,
but one thing I wish to share that previously and after attending this UHV, one thing has certainly happened to me, that now I understand that everything is not going to be perfect in every sense. But I have now developed this ability that even though things are not moving according to my, say, view, which I regard as a discipline or anything else, I normally have now developed this ability to remain calm. This I have developed, sir. I don't go to that extreme condition. But one example I would like to quote, like say, whenever I enter the class, I normally see that students, they are sitting on the last rows. The front rows are empty.
This is a universal thing.
I used to shout on them every time when I come. I have told them also that, do you think you are doing this thing right? Don't you understand that this is a kind of insult to the teacher, what you are doing? So now I don't shout to them, but it has become a practice. Many students have understood this, and otherwise I go and tell them again calmly. So this I have developed. I tell them calmly. Or what they do is, sir, if some teacher who has taken class before me and then I enter, so they automatically come from the back benches to the front benches. So yeah, I have certainly improved in many areas. But yes, I think it will certainly take time, and I try my best to improve my competency first. I am now in that phase, because I understand that everybody at that age, we have gone through that age. We were also doing a lot of things which our teachers did not like about us. So anyway, this has helped me a lot.
Very good. So if this is happening very naturally, then that's fine. For the students also, if they're coming to the front bench very naturally, then this is fine. Not out of fear, not out of compulsion, not out of any other feeling of opposition. So without having a feeling of opposition, if they are coming to the front with a feeling of relationship, that is good.
Now they say me also that, yes, sir, we know this is not right, but now they have understood, most of them. I don't say that everybody. So the ones who are still sitting on the back, they give a good example that, sir, it is very hot and we are sitting right under the fan. So please let us sit here. Okay, Manega, it's good.
Very nice. So this is happening, I think, in every class. In my observation also, this is happening. What I do is I go to them while taking the class. If I do
Yes.
not need to write something on the board, I can go to them and I can speak.
Yes.
Anyway, so we can, this expression outside can be different. So we can have different approaches. But
Yes.
the only thing which is underlined is that the feeling of relationship. I have to be
Yes.
related to the students. I don't express a feeling of opposition. And the students also
Yes.
do not feel that whatever I am expressing outside to them is a feeling of opposition or irritation or anger. With a feeling of relationship, you can bring, if you can bring them to the front bench, it is very nice, very good. That's what.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very nice, nice interaction, Pravinji.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Senhalji, your mic is also unmute. Would you like to share something?
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm having the same experience with my son. Basically, when I am telling him anything like you have done, you have not done this, or why you have not written it again, or whatever regarding the studies. So, as being a teenager, he is now in the phase like he is having the feeling of opposition. And I'm rightly he is with me and he's listening it weekly with me, and we are thankful to all UHV team that now he is like interested in listening all those things, so he is getting convinced slowly.
He has to see it for himself, not convincing.
Yeah.
Nothing. If
Right.
I can see it for myself,
Mm-hmm.
everyone can see it for themselves or the other people. Yeah. So your son
Correct.
also can see for himself that it is what is naturally acceptable to him and what is not naturally acceptable.
Correct.
Let him
Yes.
also explore for himself and see what is the reality and what is right for him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah. So let us propose to him and let
Yes.
him try to choose the right option from them, like that, like we choose the option from here. Right.
Yeah.
Very nice, Didi. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So as we responded to this question already, and now also I have a couple of responses available here in the chat box, that we try to improve his competence. This is my choice. But before trying to, or rather helping to improve the other person's competence, what I do is I try to improve my competence, because the environment has to be there. If I go on to my student and telling that, or maybe the other person telling that I'm going to improve your competence, nobody is going to sit down for that. So I have to establish a relationship with the other person, and then I can help improving the competence of the other person. So there are several ways of doing that, but first of all, establishing rapport is very important with the other person. And speaking in the language of the other is also sometimes helping us to bring this rapport. Then when the other is ready to listen to me, I can slowly bring in the content, but not as an advice, but as a friendly talk, very naturally. So this will help improving the competence of the other person also, without the other person feeling that I'm trying to improve his competence. So when I try to do that through my own methods, but with a feeling of relationship, this is a result. There we have this response. And that is what we refer to as trust on intention. I see that the other person is also having the same intention as that of mine. And the other person can see that when I interact with him or her, the naturally acceptable feelings are shared with him, or happiness is in one word, happiness is being shared with him. And he can see that this is happiness, and he can also be happy. So mutual happiness may be the result. Mutual happiness is the result. I would say maybe it is the result if we respond. But on the other hand, if you get irritated, if I'm getting angry, if I'm having a feeling of opposition, then I depict this doubt on intention on the other person. That is a react. So when I react to the other person, the result is the other person also is having this unhappy. I am having unhappiness. When I react to the other person, I am disturbed. I am in disharmony. So this disharmony or disturbance is being shared through my irritation or anger or feeling of opposition. This is influencing the other, and the other also may be getting disturbed, further disturbed. So this is the maybe the response as well as reaction part. So we'll be having a little bit more discussion on response reaction in the next session. But now we can also see that how many persons and how many friends you have this trust on intention, unconditional continuous trust on intention. This is for our self introspection, maybe, and maybe self investigation, as we say, this the self exploration part is also carrying this self investigation. I can ask myself, I can have a dialogue with myself, asking myself that how many persons are there in my family and friends with whom I have this trust on intention. That is natural acceptance, but unconditional and continuous, irrespective of how they behave, irrespective of how they express outside. Can I have this trust on intention with the other, irrespective of how they change their behavior? Outside, what we see is their behavior, so they may change because they don't have this clarity upon this intention or trust on intention. Irrespective of that, if I can see that my feeling is intact, my feeling is naturally acceptable, and that is ensured within. How many people are there in my family and friends? Can you self introspect and get a response in the chat box, either quantitatively or qualitatively? You can respond to the chat box. Yeah, somebody has unmuted, but now I cannot see. Yeah. So can you respond to the chat box regarding as a response to this question? Praveen Kumar ji is typing 10 in the chat box. Nice, very nice. Satyaranjan ji is typing 6 in the chat box. Good. I said we can write it, even it as qualitatively also, like few, many, very few. You can add this adjectives also. Or sometimes if you see it is with everyone, this is also fine. But this has to be a true reflection of what is happening within. Nice. So some of us are able to see that this number exactly. Some of us are still exploring within. This is something which every time I ask myself, how many? Shashikan Gosavi Paya is typing all. Very nice. So if you can see that, I can have this trust on intention, unconditional and continuous with all the people around. That is very good. But this has to come very naturally, not forcefully, very naturally. Yeah. Whenever the conditions are favorable, whenever the conditions are not favorable, in both the cases, if I can see that, I can have this trust on intention, unconditional, continuous with every human being. This is a very good exploration. When somebody is shouting upon me, when somebody is behaving badly, maybe when I'm going to a shop or when I am on the road, when I am stuck in the traffic, when somebody is shouting upon me from outside, somebody is hitting on my vehicle. So I can just think of all these situations. Are you having this trust on intention for that person who hit on your vehicle? Like this, you can think of situations which are unfavorable to you. the people who are involved in these situations may not be intending to do that, may not be doing it intentionally, but maybe accidentally or as a lack of competence. This may happen. When you are in the crowd, people may push you. Right. So when people push you, you think that the person who is close to you is pushing. But maybe the person who is very close to you is trying to get out of this crowd. And for that purpose only, he may be pushing. But what is your response to the person who is pushing? Is it also trust on intention? How do you respond to that person, or do you react to the person? So we can think of such situations in which we were in. Nice. So like this, we can self-introspect or self-evaluate ourselves and see how many persons are there, and let us try to develop this feeling of trust within. So this is fundamental. This means the trust on intention is fundamental. So trust on intention is the foundation of relationship. Unless we can see that I have this trust on intention with every other human being, that if the intention of every human being is same as that of mine, we have only one natural acceptance. But I cannot have this program. I cannot make a program with the other person. So this is very fundamental. Otherwise, I see people also as sometimes objects. And I change my behavior with people based on situations, based on events. This may happen when I have no trust on intention. So we all can try to see. Now also this is like information to many of us, but all of us can try to see that the intention of every human being is same. And that is the foundation of the relationship which we make with any human being. So we can get an idea of the state of your understanding about relationship from this exploration. Because this is very fundamental, we spend much time upon this, exploring on this trust on intention. Many times we say that the other person intentionally do this. But does the person did this intentionally? Any act which is not favorable to me, I can see it for myself. Why I'm getting irritated? Why I'm getting this uncomfortable feeling? Is it because of the other person, or is it because of myself? If who is responsible for my feelings? Is it the other person, the other situations, or the events outside, or is it me, myself? What do you think? Who is responsible for your feelings? I, myself. Nice. Shashiganji, Uma Maheshwar Singh ji are typing self. So every one of us can see this for, yeah, Satyaranjan Janaji is also typing I. Very nice. So this is a recognition that I can recognize that I am responsible for my feelings, and if the feelings are not right, it is I who is responsible for this, and I can set it all right. I can work upon myself and try to set the feelings naturally acceptable. But this has to come very naturally, not forcefully. I repeat once again. So trust is very fundamental. Trust on intention is the foundation of relationship. We can explore upon this. We have to see this trust when the situations are unfavorable to me, not very favorable. In very favorable situations, we may feel that, okay, I can trust everyone. But when it is not so, what is my feeling? It is not how do I behave outside, but what is my feeling within? Yeah. Yeah, so this is what we have discussed the questions, if the response to question number 2A, that is, I want to make the other happy, then as a consequence of that, the other also wants to make me happy. If you ask the question to the other says that I want to make you happy, but many times I'm not able to. Okay, the ability part is different. So we can say on the left side of this screen, the questions regarding the natural acceptance of every human being, and on the right, I can see the box on right top as the ability part or the competence part of me, and the box on right bottom is the competence part of the other human being. Lack of competence is there with every human being, so I have to work upon myself, and so also the other has to work upon himself or herself. And when I see this complementarity, I can help the other to improve his competence, but only after establishing a relationship between me and the other person. That's very important. So this is trust on intention. When I see that I want to make myself and the other happy, I can also see that the intention of the other human being is same as that of mine, that the other wants to make himself, herself happy, as well as the other wants to make me happy. So this is trust on intention. Maybe if you go back to the example of this glass breaking, I see that the glass broke by accident for myself. And now when I can see that there is trust on intention with the other human being, the glass is broken by accident for the other also. When I see that I am getting late to my college or some destined place, I can see that it is because of some reason. And it is not intentionally for myself. So also I can see for the other. If I can see the other got late again, then I also can be late at some occasions. Even if the other makes the same mistake 100 times, I'm clear about his intention. I know the mistake is due to lack of competence, not lack of intention, as I see for myself. I make effort to help improve his competence with a feeling of affection. And when I make this mistake even once, I'm clear about my intention. My intention is very pure. And I know that the mistake is due to lack of competence and not lack of intention. So I try to improve my competence. I make effort for that. When I see that there is a lack of competence in myself, I can make effort for improving my competence. I can also seek help from the other to improve my competence. I'm willing to learn. When I see that something which I explain in the class is not understandable to the students, I may be able to see that I explain it very well, but to my level of understanding only. And when I ask the students, the response is very poor. So I used to get irritated because of this earlier, because I think that I'm teaching it in the best possible way. But even then, among these 50, 60 students, many of them are not able to remember, reproduce, or do what I'm telling. So I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting irritated. But what may be a reason for this? If I evaluate the reason or evaluate the situation for myself and for the other, I see that other also may have difficulty in understanding, and I may have difficulty in explaining. So the way in which I have explained is for me. Even now, when I try to deliver the content and discuss the content with you, I try to place things in such a fashion that I can understand it better. But I am not able to see that whether you are trying to understand it. That I could see only through your responses in the chat box and with the mic. Likewise, I can also see for my class, maybe a technical subject or value-based subject, whatever. The other is having difficulty in understanding, but also the other wants me to, in fact, describe things in a different way, and he or she may not be able to say that because of some block. So what I have to see is that what is that the other person wants? I have to understand this, but with a feeling of affection. If I talk to them, so nowadays what I'm doing is this. So they come out. So usually in the earlier days, students also were very reluctant to ask questions. Now things are different. I can see it in my class. One thing is that I not only speak to them in English, but I speak to them in their mother tongue also. That is one thing. So they are more expressive nowadays. This is giving them more opportunity to express. So it is, as we say in the workshop, it is not the language that is important, but what is communicated is important. The content which is communicated, the proposals which are communicated, the idea which is communicated is more important than the language. So they come up with questions, and I am able to discuss this in detail. So in one particular occasion, what happened is I have been conducting a 1 day long series of classes in one institution, not my institution, but outside. It's an invited lecture. It was an invited lecture, and this happened in 2015, like 8 years before. So there on day one, I conducted these classes in English. I have a large audience, and then I have another class on day 2 also. So day 2, before I go to day 2, I collected some feedback on that morning. Then I have been taking the breakfast from the teacher. I asked him, what is the feedback from the students of the class yesterday? Then he said that, yeah, so the students are telling that you are speaking very fast, and English is also a little bit of a problem for them. I said, okay, I can change for today if this is the difficulty. There were very, very few questions also the previous day. So on day 2, when I went to the class, I told them that this is the feedback which I got from your teacher. This is very fine. I'm going to do these 2 changes. I am going to talk to you in your mother tongue. Is there anybody who is not able to understand this language? They said, no, we can follow this language, the mother tongue. So all of them were from the same regional language. That was helping, in fact. And then I said I will be giving some pauses in between for you to explore. So this was that was a 3-hour class. The class was over. In between also there were questions, and at the end of the class, I asked them if you want to ask me anything. I was expected to go by the noon time, but even my lunch was late because there were plenty of questions. For 1 hour, they asked a lot of questions. So I had to respond to all those questions before I take my lunch and depart from there. So that incident I quote whenever maybe an occasion comes like this, that what is communicated is more important than the language. And when we communicate in a language which is close to them, close to the students, they try to focus upon the content, they try to connect to the content and try to ask more questions. So this is there. So trust on intention is the starting point for mutual development. So everybody has this ability to understand, or this potential to understand. But are we trying to invoke this potential? Are we trying to help them to understand? This is very important. So any sharing or any question regarding what we have been discussing right now, till now? Any questions or any sharing from your side? Mic is available to most of you. If there are some questions or sharing, we can take some time for this. You can put that in the chat box also, your sharing or your questions. So what we are speaking about here is regarding, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor.
Yeah, good evening, Ji.
This thing we are able to understand actually, but when it is coming to the point of implementation, so many incidents are there. In real sense, we are not able to implement it. What I mean to say, maybe I have done a mistake. Someone is doing a mistake means immediately we are blaming them. We understand later on when we will analyze the situation, we understand. But at that point of time, we are not able to act properly. So how to overcome all these situations? Because I have observed some incident 2-3 days before. At the next moment, I am not able to act accordingly. But after that, when I think that yes, I have done this wrong thing, so then I realize, but that time is over already by that time. The damage I have already done.
We can see for ourselves that if we try to blame the other, what would have happened to me if the same response or reaction had put upon me? So what is my role there? My role is, if I just blame the other person's feelings are also getting affected. My feeling is also getting affected. There is a lose situation. I'm losing my feelings. The other is also losing. Something happened. That's, yeah.
The problem is at that moment we are not able to think. I understand what you are saying, but at that point we are not able to think.
There we have to work upon ourselves and develop the competence in ourselves. Even at that moment, can we maintain this calmness, as you said? Can we evaluate the feelings of ourselves? We immediately react, spontaneously we react because the feelings, naturally acceptable feelings, are not ensured within.
Right way.
Yeah. So I can work upon that. I can improve my competence. It may not happen immediately. It may happen maybe within some years. This is okay. But I can, of course, take effort.
Yeah.
Take effort. Yeah.
Okay.
Even if this happened, no issues. We don't need to regret upon it because this is my previous sanskar. Because I'm seeing many people doing the same thing, and I'm also into this sanskar. I'm say bursting upon the person sometimes, or I am blaming the person. That's okay. But I can try to evaluate myself, what is happening within, and then when the next situation comes, I can observe myself, what is happening with me. And I can set my feelings all right, but this may come down, this reaction may come down maybe with time, with passage of time.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Right. Nice. We have a comment in the chat box by Shashikanji. Explaining and making candidates explore in mother tongue is encouraging to students, but as they have to write answers in English, I insist them to remember technical words, at least in English. For example, yeah, Saraswigirdi as natural acceptance. Very true. Very nice. Yeah, this medium of writing the examination. This is there. They have to write in English, and these technical words. Yeah, even when we discuss the content in mother tongue, the technical words are being conveyed only in English. This is very important because otherwise we have to find out this equivalent words in mother tongue. So this may, now the AICTE is promoting that, but there is a long way to go for this purpose. So for the time being, the explanation part can be done in mother tongue, and but I'm not telling that this has to be done every time. You can do it if the students cannot understand, then we can do that. But the lectures can be in English also, because whenever they have to present something in front of others, the medium of communication has to be English, because on the other side there may be someone who cannot follow their mother tongue. So presentation in English is also important. So the competency for this also has to be developed. The skill for this has to be developed. But what is more important is understanding. So let us help them understand. Very nice. Yeah, so the practical implementation part is what is being discussed. I can find my own, so everyone can find their own ways of doing this, but the underlying feeling is should be that of relationship, not of opposition. Whatever action I am taking, whatever method I am selecting for implementing this, I have to ensure that my feelings are naturally acceptable, and I have a feeling of relationship always with the other person. This is very important. So we trust on intention. With trust on intention, I feel related to the other. I accept the relationship. Now, when I make a program with the other person, I evaluate his competence as well as my competence. That is evaluating the mutual competence. And generally, I make a program with the other in accordance with our current mutual competence. Yeah. So I'm consistently making effort to learn, because I can see that I also am having this lack of competence. If the other is lacking in competence, I'm committed to help the other to improve his competence without becoming irritated. These questions are also reproduced over here about the natural acceptance and about the competence part. So trust on intention is to see that the other wants to make me happy. The intention of the other is same as that of mine. We differ at the level of competence, and we can work upon this complementarity part to help the other. And if I am getting irritated, I can also seek help from the other when I see that the other is having better competence than me. So my program with the other is now based on this current mutual competence, not based on my my preconditioning or my what I think of myself as superior or things like that. That is, I'm a teacher, the other is a student. Sometimes the student also can help the teacher. This happened many times. Yeah, so trust on intention is a starting point for mutual development. This is what we have been discussing in a nutshell regarding this trust part. Now, this home assignment is something which we give to the students at the end of this particular session. There are 3 questions here. One question is the question which we asked during the workshop, during the session. How many persons in your family and friends do you have trust on intention? Unconditional, continuous. You always make effort to improve mutual competence and your own competence as well as the competence of the other, rather than getting irritated, angry, or having a feeling of opposition, even for a moment. So this we can ask ourselves. Many of us are teachers here, and many students are also joined in the Zoom platform as well as in the YouTube channel also. So we can self-ask this question ourselves. How many persons are there in our family and friends to whom we have this trust on intention? Whether the number is very less or many or all the human beings, this we can ask for ourselves. In case you get angry or irritated, if that is what is happening, truly, do you feel happy when you get angry? You can ask a question. And when you express your anger, when you express your anger, are you getting this happiness? What is the outcome when you express your anger? Is it helping you or helping the other? Is it mutual happiness or mutual unhappiness. And what is the reason for your anger? Is it the other or you? So we have asked the question during the session also. It is nice if you can ask it again and again whenever you are having this anger within. This is part of our self-evaluation process. And as it was mentioned earlier, when we practice this, and whenever such situation arises, we can ask ourselves, so I'm getting angry, what is the reason? Is it because of the person or the situation outside, or is it myself? There may be triggers from outside. Several triggers may be there. It is raining outside, for example. I may be getting angry. I don't have an umbrella. I have to go somewhere. So if I'm getting angry, there is no point. What I have to do is I have to find an alternative to reach the place, because that is my imagination at that time. That's what I have to do. That I may be having to do some target. I may have to meet some target. So another choice may be there. Getting irritated, getting angry may not be a choice. The question number 8.3 is: talk to two close friends you may have lost to trust. Tell them you have realized the difference between intention and competence, and that you want to reconnect. Write down the response or reaction. You may like to share it in the next session. So this is the assignment which we give to the students. There can be a lot of sharing from the student regarding this trust. I also have experience of not even student workshop, but faculty workshop also. The next day after the trust session has been delivered, there were remarks regarding how to or how the participants have seen the breakage in relationship with someone who was very close otherwise. This sharing would be there on the next day. That I try to talk to the other person, and now we can see that we both of us were waiting for someone to start. And when I started talking to the other, then he also or she also join the conversation. So this kind of sharing will be there. So we usually want the other to start. We want the other to improve. But what the other thinks is the other wants us to improve and us to start. So this is what I wanted to convey regarding this trust session in the SIP 1. If there are some questions we can take quickly. Any sharing or questions regarding this trust? Seeing that the intention of every human being is same. This is what is trust. The other wants to make me happy and prosperous is what we refer to as trust on intention. Ji Praveen Kumar ji, your mic is unmute.
Sir, I wanted to ask this question. That trust, I know trust is a very huge term. Now, if some person has really broken that trust, and how do we still have that courage or understanding that I should reconnect with him or her?
When we say
if
the trust is
he has broken a trust, that was not expected, and that was a very huge mistake the person has done. Say financially, you trusted a person with lakhs of rupees which you have given him, and that was never returned. Say this is an example. So how can we trust that person in future? Or should we say that he did that because he was lacking a competency? How do we?
If you ask the person, when are you going to return the money? or are you going to return the money? He will never say that I'm not going to return. I will return. So the natural acceptance of the person is not to return the money, but to return the money. But there may be lack of competence. You can just evaluate this.
Okay, okay. Let me put it in another way, sir.
Yeah.
And then let me put it in another way, sir. Say I had some extra money and I invested in a flat. I gave money to my relative. I invested in a flat, and he told me that it would be in my name within a few periods, say 15 days to 1 month, the time it usually takes. Okay, he did change the name, but he changed the name in another person of my family member. So now how do we trust both these persons?
Yeah.
That remained in my home. It is in my home, but do you? I put a question to you, sir. Do you think that I am wrong if I do not trust them any further?
Why do they do this action? This you can think of. And also, before you take an action, did you evaluate this mutual competence? These two questions are very relevant. Before handing over the money, did we evaluate the mutual competence? So this possibility could also have been thought of. What could have been the outcome if the person did not do as I expected? And then when the other person is doing this, why does he do that? What is the purpose? The purpose is to make himself happy finally, but the choice is his. Whether he is going to be happy or not is a different question, but he wanted to be happy, further he is doing this. But the consequence, whatever is the consequence of that, he is going to face it. I can choose. So there are several ways in front of me. I can choose any of them. I don't know the consequence, but I choose them at this point without evaluation. But finally, when the consequence is there, I have to face it. There is no choice at that time. That is why we can evaluate for ourselves whether the when I start doing this action, that is giving money to somebody or expecting something from them, if this is not going to happen.
Actually, you see, they were my relatives. Even one of them is my family member. I forgot that. I say, okay, it is in my name or your name. It does not matter. But second time also, when I shared my money with them, that was also in lakhs. Again, the same thing. So now you see, one thing I can really understand, that I cannot trust these people with the money. So can I say that I am still wrong?
You can explore for yourself that if this is lack of trust or lack of competence again. When
I think I am not going to trust them anymore, sir. This is till my life I cannot trust, because it has happened twice. It cannot be mere coincidence. So I don't know
how we define trust. So if my
trust is, you see, I want to rectify my earlier this one, that one question was asked, that how many friends or family member do I trust unconditionally, continuously? You see, my family members and the persons whom I call friends, that is unconditional trust. I know if someone I call him as a friend, so that was because of a long understanding and the trust that was developed between us. So I know that I can trust him in that person in any situation. I know he will stand by me, he will help me, or I will also do the same for him. So all those people who are my family members and my friends, I trust every one of them unconditionally. Unfortunately, this reason is an exceptional that has happened. But if something is happening, I have complete trust in someone. But if this trust is broken by someone, that I think it is logical that we no longer have a trust in them because of certain deeds which they have done. So
yeah, you can keep it open, but this trust, this is how we see the trust. That is what matters here. When I say that I can trust someone unconditionally because he has this with some person I can have this unconditional trust because I can see that his competence is also better. His ability part, that is what we evaluate. So when we evaluate the other person on the basis of intention or competence, this makes a huge difference. When I see that the intention of every human being is same, if I can see that, this is what we refer to as trust on intention. But if you can see that the competence part of the other human being, so we, in the case of the person who has not acted according to your wish and
My trust.
case also, yeah, that is their action, their activity. You are evaluating the person on the basis of their activities, their abilities. This is in fact competence. So we can keep it open and explore for ourselves.
Open, yes, sir. But these years, many years, which I have explored, that how can I conclude this thing? Many times I think that they were more competent than me. That how we could bring out money from this person. I think it like this, that the faith which I had in them, so how easily they mistrusted me. So I think they are more competent than me. They have much more competency level than me. So they could think in this fashion and do such a thing to me. So anyway, it's a part of life. But
no, we don't need to think that it's part of life. So we can keep on exploring regarding this.
we
What
will
is
keep
trust,
on meeting such people.
Yeah, sure. Very true. Very nice. So we can keep on exploring regarding this. What is trust and what is competence? How do you evaluate people? How do you evaluate yourself? These things we can just try to
Yes, sir.
explore
Yes, sir.
on the basis
Yes,
of this, or otherwise also. Nice. Thank you so much. We have
thank you,
already exceeding time. So thank you all the dear co-explorers for your participation in this Wednesday meeting. We will meet next Wednesday the same time. Thank you. Namaste. Over to you, Parikshit ji, for the question.
Thank you, everybody. We'll surely meet again for more such and such healthy discussion next Wednesday, 7:30. Thank you, Thank you all the family.